That with Democratic Congressman Joe Sestak of Pennsylvania. He's a retired admiral in the U.S. Navy. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in. Would you be satisfied if this trial moves out of New York and goes, for example, to a military base in upstate New York, a civilian trial? Would that be okay with you?
I guess it would be acceptable, but I'd be surprised that we'd have to do it. I've heard these comments that it'll take 2,500 checkpoints or police officers. I served in the White House when al-Qaeda was a problem as Director of Defense Policy. I drove past the White House the other day. You could almost throw a stone and hit the White House. We're able to protect that bastion of our society, so to speak, quite well. I don't know why we can't do it downtown New York City.
Well,
a
lot of the residences and businesses down in Lower Manhattan, they don't want it. They think it'll disrupt their lives, the value of their property, their businesses, and they want it out. Now the mayor and the police commissioner want it out as well. So I assume that's okay with you.
I would accept it. I would like to see it there because we've tried twice on military courts that have been deemed unconstitutional, struck down by the Supreme Court, and I'm tired. Quite frankly, I'm disappointed that we have a criminal that isn't being brought to justice in front of U.S. citizens to where the death penalty or locking them up forever, whichever they decide, isn't being done. And I had always felt the great strength of New York City's is this toughness, and I would have liked to see them brought there. But would I accept it if that's what's deemed logistically more easy to do? Sure. But let's move on to justice, because we need to have it brought about.
Because you heard Rudy Giuliani make the case that even if you put it to a civilian trial on a military base near West Point, for example, or in West Point, or some other military facility in upstate New York, he thinks that too would be a mistake. You should just have a military commission or a military tribunal deal with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the other self-proclaimed masterminds of 9/11. What's wrong with letting a military commission, and you were in the military for more than 30 years, what's wrong with letting them do it?
You know, I was also head of the Navy's anti-terrorism unit and was on the ground for a short period of time at the beginning of the Afghanistan war. I saw these individuals being brought in. Often they were brought in for $2,000 a bounty, and I was stationed at the Pentagon when 9/11 happened. Do I want them brought to justice? Absolutely. And I know military courts. As I said, they've been struck down twice for the way the tribunals have been brought about. Do we have to wait a third time? And second, I don't find differences between the two. For example, military courts are open to public. Military tribunals are. They show them on TV. The same protections for classified information under the Classified Information Protection Act is done in civilian courts as it is done in military courts. So let's get about it. We have an opportunity here no longer to delay justice, so bring them into where President Bush did bring in 200 terrorists and actually said just a few years ago when he was in Copenhagen, President Bush said he wanted all these terrorists brought into America to be brought by a federal court. So let's do it.
What do you think, Congressman, of the way the Obama administration is making these kinds of sensitive decisions? A year ago, the president said the Gitmo, the Guantanamo Bay prison camp, would be shut down within 1 year. He's failed to meet that deadline, and it's now open-ended. We don't know what's going to happen at Guantanamo Bay at the prison facility there. And then he said the trial is going to take place, the Attorney General in Lower Manhattan. Now apparently they have to walk away with this. What's your assessment of the way this administration makes these kinds of sensitive national security decisions, making promises and failing to deliver?
Well, if you have a point. But I'm also disappointed in Congress. Those senators and those Congress members that 3 years ago were calling for shutting down Gitmo, but yet all of a sudden becomes almost at times a political issue. Where's the courage in Congress so that the president would help stay the course? Now, yeah, I wish that he would stay and persist through in New York City, and I wish we had been more allies in Congress that shows that any prison like Gitmo that's creating more prisoners outside its walls, or more terrorists outside its walls, than you can hold inside is cost ineffective. Close it. And so I'm a pretty pragmatic guy. If that's what's happening, close it. And if not bringing a criminal to justice isn't being done, bring him to justice. Now, if logistics, because the executive branch didn't think this through, is really of such a problem, all right, there's a few initial facts, but I wish they had found those out beforehand. No, look, if you're going to pursue an idea then let's stay the course and pursue it if it's right and you thought it through. And frankly, that's why I'm back on TV, arguing as I did when this first came up, they should be brought to New York City. And frankly, it's why I've argued since the beginning that Gitmo should be shut down when it's so ineffective in terms of creating more terrorists outside its walls than you can hold inside.
We'll continue this discussion. Congressman Joe Sestak is a Democrat of Pennsylvania. He's seeking the Democratic senatorial nomination. He's got a primary fight, with the incumbent Senator Arlen Specter, who's now a Democrat himself. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Wolf.
Congressman Joe Sestak of Pennsylvania. All right, we have